Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu-o-Alikum. It's Badr here. Today in this video I'm going to discuss about how to solve quadratic equation by quadratic formula when you're getting inside of the root negative sign, how you simplify that imaginary part. This is the second part of my quadratic equation, how to solve by quadratic formula. So if you don't know about how to solve quadratic equation, what is quadratic formula and how you will solve it by quadratic formula, you can see my that first video. Now you can see in this equation a is 1, b is -4 and c is 5. Second thing, whenever we are solving the quadratic equation by quadratic formula, it's mean that equation is not factorable. That's why we are using quadratic formula to solve it. That's the main reason. That's why in quadratic equation the mathematician announced that there's a second way to solve quadratic equation by quadratic formula. Alright, so ABC values I already mentioned. Now I'm going to write the formula here, which is x equals to minus b plus minus square root of b square minus 4ac divided by 2a. After that, what we will do, we will put these values in our equation in this formula. So x equals to the b value, that is -4, so negative times -4 plus minus square root of -4 square minus 4 times a, the a value that's 1 and c is 5, so a is 1 and c is 5, divided by 2, and a value that is 1, so we will times it by 1. X equals to minus that's positive 4 plus minus square root of 4 square, that's 16, minus 4 times 5, that's 20, divided by 2. So x equals to +4 plus minus square root of 16 minus 20, that's -4, divided by 2. This was the main thing I was saying about it, like when you're getting negative sign, when you're getting the negative sign about it inside the root, how you can solve it. Negative sign inside the root, we can't simplify it, that's imaginary part. To simplify this part, in grade 9 we neglect this negative sign, we simplify it, but in grade 10 and grade 11 the student do study about the imaginary numbers, real numbers and imaginary numbers, how you can solve the real numbers and imaginary numbers when they have radical sign. So in this equation, it's x equals to 4 plus minus square root of -4 divided by 2. So first of all, I'm going to simplify this part, square root of -4. I will write here negative square root of -4. What I can do, I can just break this one. I know that 4 times 1 is 4, so I can say that, let's say -1 times 4, that's -4. Same thing, -1 I will according to radical rule, what we can do, we can write them separately under the radical sign, under the square root, because it's a rule. If the numbers that are multiplying with each other and they have the same root, so you can just write in one root, and if two numbers are written in the same root, you can write them separately in the root, under the root, and then you can simplify it. So -1 square root, when you do, we can't do it. This is the imaginary part because it's negative number here, negative number under the root, that's why it's imaginary. And 4 square root, we know that when we do the square root of 4, that's 2, so I'll write 2 here, square root of -1. So the imaginary part we represent when the negative numbers are given to us. I square equals to -1. Its name is iota. It's imaginary. So whenever -1 is mentioned under the radical sign, you can replace the -1 by I square. So its name is iota, so we can replace the iota I with -1. So I'm going to write here square root of -1 times square root of 4, that's 2, so I will mention the 2 on the left side of it, and instead of the -1 I will say that since we know that -1 equals to I square, equals to I square. So we write here instead of the negative 1 I square. Now we know that square values always cancel out with the square root, so this 2 cancel out with the root, so we get 2i. 2i we get plus minus. Okay, 2i I got. Now I'm going to write here now that I got negative 4 square root, that is 2i. So x equals to 4 plus minus. Now I will not write square root of negative 5, I will write 2i divided by 2. So you can see that in the middle there is two signs, plus and minus. So we can't simplify the one step, so we will write separately x equals to 4 plus 2i divided by 2, and x equals to 4 minus 2i, I means iota, divided by 2. So here the 4 is a real number and I is imaginary. After that, if you look at in the first term, there is 2 common, so I can take out the 2 common from it, so that's become 2 times 2, that's 4, I divided by 2. Same thing for the negative one, x equals to 2 times 2, that's 4, minus I divided by 2. And you can see that this 2 and 2 cancel out, so we get x equals to 2 plus I, and x equals to 2 minus I. And that's my final answer. And you can see that it's not factorable because we're getting one real part and one imaginary part. And that's our final answer. Alright, so the first question is done. Now we look at the second example, question number 2. How to solve the quadratic equation with two imaginary parts. Solve quadratic equation with two imaginary parts. Imaginary parts. And the equation is x square minus 2x plus 9. X square minus 2x plus 9. A equals to 1. Here no number is mentioned with x square, so that means it has 1. B is negative 2 and C is 9. I will use the quadratic formula here. X equals to minus b plus minus square root of b square minus 4ac divided by 2a. Now we will substitute the values in it. So x equals to minus, and then b is minus 2, so 2 negative 2 plus minus square root of minus 2 square minus 4 times 1 times 9 divided by 2 times 1. That's equals to positive 2 plus minus square root of 2 square, that's 4, minus 4 times 9, that's 36, divided by 2. 4 minus square root of 4 minus 36, if we do that, 36 minus 4, that's 32. So 36 is bigger number, so we will write our with our answer 2 plus minus square root of 4 minus 36, that's minus 32 divided by 2. Now you can see that as like we have done in previous example, previous question, when we have imaginary part coming, like negative 1 coming inside the root, so what we are doing, we are simplifying it separately and we are just breaking it with negative 1 times that number. Same thing we will do in this question. If it does, okay, so we will write here, we will do the rough work of it, square root of negative 32, so we know that that would be negative 1 times square root of 32. Negative 1, as we know that negative 1 equals to I square iota. So what we will do, square root of negative 1 times the square root of 32. As we know that negative 1 equals to I square, so we will write here square root of I square and square root of 32. That will give me the I answer, I here, because square cancel with the root. So 32 square root, if we do, it has not perfect factors. I'm going to write first of all this thing there, I square root of 32. So I write here plus 2 plus minus I square root of 32 divided by 2. Now 32 square root, if we do, I do here square root of 32. I know that 4 times 8 is 32. I can break this one into two numbers, square root of 4 times square root of 8. So I know the square root of 4, that's 2. Square root of 8, that would be 2 times 4 is 8. So we can write here 2 times square root of 2 times square root of 4. That will give us 2 times square root of 2 times 2. So that is 4 square root of 2. So I'll write here 2 plus minus 4I square root of 2 divided by 2. We can see that on the top there is 2 coming. 2 is common here and here. They both are divisible by 2, 4 and 2. So we can take out the 2 from it. So that's become 1 plus minus 2I square root of 2 divided by 2. And after that, what we can do, we can cancel out the 2 with it, because 2 divided by 2, that's 1. So we got 1 plus minus 2I square root of 2. So these are the two imaginary parts, real and imaginary parts. I can write it separately. 1 plus 2I square root of 2, 2I square root of 2, and 1 minus 2I square root of 2. And that's the final answer. Okay, so that's it for today. Like how to solve quadratic equation with two imaginary parts. I hope you like this video. If you like the video, so do comment to this video, and see you guys in the next video. Take care. Goodbye.